Well, good morning. All right, so I wanted to get this thought out while things are fresh before things happen. Okay. Um, so first, it's Wednesday before 7 a.m. and I noticed some things when I was looking over the news, and it kind of like got the wheels turning. And I thought, okay, listen. So I read the headline for this article, and it says, Donald Trump is likely to weaponize um, these drop charges against Fannie Willis in Georgia, right? And I was like, well, they had to know that was going to happen. Because, like, at this point, Donald Trump's behavior is pretty predictable. I mean, despite the fact that we still have no proof of life. I don't even know if that dude's alive. We haven't seen him in like 7 days. I mean, as of today. And so it got me thinking, like, they had to know this was coming. And then, hey, there was an update on Alfie Oakes. And I'm connecting the dots. He had a large amount of debt. Pretty significant amount of debt. And the feds dropped their investigation after they spoke with him and after they raided him and after they took all that stuff. Didn't say they gave it back. But I think he got his loan forgiven. And you know how J.D. Vance hasn't said shit since election night? And you know how Donald Trump went into the White House and Donald Trump said, we will have a peaceful transfer of power, and extended his hand to Joe Biden, and they shook hands next to that fire. It's had me thinking, like, this whole time that, again, the whole goal is de-escalation. We don't want people to unalive, right? And I try to think about the Democratic Party, knowing that like 70% of Democratic Party members have a college degree. So instead of just coming out to a podium and giving a status update and letting you know that you're investigating and all this shit, in my opinion, Kamala Harris has dropped these little breadcrumbs. Right? The 243, what is it? 236, 943. I'm not even worried about what I posted last night, except that I still think I want to point this out because I don't think people are, like, it's not like I'm not getting enough attention. It's just like, no, think about this. The national media, big media, has not put out a story about how Jacqueline Singh, who goes by Jackie, so that could be part of the reason that her name, you don't know who that is. And people aren't saying Jackie Singh is my queen and shit. Okay, Jacqueline Singh, aka Jackie Singh, was the cybersecurity lead for the Biden-Harris 2020 campaign 4 years ago. So she has probably the most experience of anyone that could talk about elections. And she penned an open letter. She typed it out, I'm sorry. She typed out an open letter to the Harris-Walz campaign 48 hours ago. It was on Monday morning, very early, saying we need a forensic audit. There's this man named Stephen Spoonamore from within 24 hours after the election, he'd spoken up. And he's a data scientist. And he's also the person that found cheating in elections like 20 years ago. If you look him up, you can watch YouTube videos where Stephen Spoonamore talks about how to cheat in elections. And again, we've talked about Kamala Harris wrote a fucking book, dude, where she detailed in detail how susceptible our elections are. And like I said, this all started because I saw the headline, Donald Trump is likely to weaponize drop charges against Fannie Willis. And I was just like, they had to know that was coming. because he's poking the bear. He's gonna fuck with Fannie Willis, and that's gonna start the little firestorm. I have a feeling like Netanyahu agreed to a ceasefire with Biden, and just to point out that it didn't even last 24 hours, and I had to, like, they had to know that was gonna happen, right? It's Netanyahu. And I thought about how we immediately didn't sanction Israel. I think they bombed a tented area. And I thought they had to know that was going to happen. Why would you do that as Joe Biden sign a truce, right? Obviously, you're in good faith still if you're Joe Biden. But ultimately, like I said, it was like with the Fannie Willis thing, it like triggered in me where I was like, they had to know that was going to happen. Wait, right? Because it's like you normally and again, if you're a lawyer or you practice law or you're someone who is like read, I mean, I'm Law and Order. I'm a big Gresham fan. The Testament is probably my favorite book. If you haven't ever read John Grisham, just understand that I believe he was a former practicing attorney, and he turned into a fucking great writer. And I'd also recommend Dean Koontz. Fear Nothing is probably my second favorite book. So there's a double book recommendation for your midweek Thanksgiving. Fear Nothing by Dean Koontz and The Testament by John Grisham. They're popular books. It's not like I don't have them on a shelf. I don't own those books. That's sad. We'll figure that out. But yeah, it got me to thinking. Like his behavior is predictable almost to the letter. And I'm just a Joe Blow. Can you imagine having like the whole of the government behind you, like all the orgs, and they're like, "Hey, that dude's trying to fuck." He is literally doing Putin's work, right? Dismantling three-letter agencies, destroying social safety nets. Like this is the machinations of Putin, of Russia. This is what they want. And it's coming to a head. Russia is in a free fall. U.S. businesses are starting to lose money because Donald Trump's about to be in office. And one thing I want to point out, I was raised on don't mess with Texas. Okay? And I'll put it like this. When I was a little kid, man, it's a great story to close on, okay? I went on a mission trip to Texas. And we split our days. We were half in Dallas, half in San Antonio. And we went to the mall in Dallas. The one with the lion figurines out front. And when you pull up, them lions look little. When you get up to them lions are fucking huge, boy. And then and they're not real, dude. They're like carved lions. But like I took pictures by them shits. And then you go in the mall. And we weren't even in the mall 5 fucking minutes. And we got fucking cornered by like a black mother. And it was all white kids. And she said, y'all need to put your hands down, right? Like put your hands down by your sides, talk quietly, and walk in groups. Don't walk in a big mob because you're going to ruin everyone else's experience at this mall. And then she just walked out of the mall. And we were just like, and we no shit, paired up 2, 3, and walked in little groups and were immediately quiet. The rest of the time we were in that mall, we didn't behave like that the rest of the time we was on that trip. It was a bunch of Banshee Indians. Right, just running around screaming and flailing around and shit. But anyway, that's a story about the power of black women. So have a great day.